Hello, hello. Welcome back to another edition of the Balls Deep Sports Waiver Edition, Week 8. And this week we actually got some things to get to.
Yeah, that's what
So,
that's what I was saying before we even got started. Is this the first time I feel like the last couple of weeks have just been kind of meh as far as the free agent market, fantasy football wise, but actually have some things happening right now. Excited to get into it.
definitely, yeah. Might as well hop into it. Ravens, Cowboys are on a bye this week, so those two teams are out. Starting first with the QBs.
Couple
So
missing this
obviously with
week.
those two teams out, Dak Prescott and Lamar Jackson, two big names at the QB
Mm-hmm.
position that are going to be out.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, the biggest name, who's going to be out this week,
Mm-hmm.
and possibly even Matt Ryan. He went out that game and still questionable for this week. We're not sure what's going to happen. So he's
He's
someone
going to
to
miss weeks.
another big name to be. Yeah.
And another
So
side note,
the guy that I'm looking at.
just on a
What's
side
up?
note before you get started with that, I'm sorry. I heard a lot of
No,
people
that's
are
all
talking
good.
about Drew Brees is practicing this week. Highly doubt he plays this
Yeah.
week, but he is going back to practice. So just want to throw that out as a side
Yeah.
note.
I don't.
So it's just a lot of
I
quarterbacks
think
missing.
Drew. Yeah, I think Drew Brees more wants to play this week, but I think the team's going to shut him down
Mm-hmm.
and still wait him out another week.
Teddy Bridgewater's undefeated. Ain't no reason. No reason.
Yeah, they're looking good with what they
Mm-hmm.
got right now, so no reason to rush him back.
Mm-hmm.
So, but first guy that I got on my list, top of my list for QBs is red hot Kirk Cousins, and he's just over that our 50% threshold of 51% ownership,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Close
think he's
enough.
still worth mentioning because he's just been so red hot,
Mm-hmm.
and he's been like the hottest QB I think in the league with 10 TDs and only one interception, 300 plus yards in the past 3 games. Like, I guess
Is
it's good that he
missing
got called
Adam
out.
Thielen this week.
Well, they're saying that he might go, but yeah, he probably will be
Thursday
missing
night
him. But
game. Yeah, I don't see that happening too soon.
yeah,
No reason to wheel him out for the Thursday night game. But yeah, Kirk Cousins red
but
hot.
it is against the Redskins though, who are bad.
Mm-hmm.
So you still like the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephon Diggs has been stepping up too lately,
Mm-hmm.
so you like that.
Their tight end
So
Irv Smith also.
yeah, in Kyle Rudolph had a big game last week too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Finally had over 5+ targets for the first time this season. So hopefully that'll continue.
Always good to see anything happen out of the tight end spot.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh,
For sure.
One I'd like to bring up, and I know we started to talk about him earlier, was God, now a name's drawing a blank, but Kansas City's replacement. I always think you gotta start him. Just for the weapons he has around him, that upside
hmm
alone. Oh, goddamn, what is his name?
Matt Moore.
Matt Moore. Matt Moore. Chad Henney's not back yet, and yet Matt Moore is gonna get the go ahead. Just what more of a spot would you want? It's Kansas City. They're built to pass. That isn't going to change, and he just has all the
And
weapons around him. Mm-hmm.
what I like too about Matt Moore is it's Andy Reid too, and you
Mm-hmm.
gotta like that offense. And I think historically, Andy Reid has done well for like so quarterbacks
Mm-hmm.
in the past. So and I think
He made Alex Smith
Matt
look
Moore
good.
and exactly. I think he's made AJ Feely look good in the past
Yeah.
for a few games. Nick Foles when he was a rookie. So
Mm-hmm.
he's got that potential to make Matt Moore look good, and he's got the weapons around him to even help him more. So you like that. Another guy that I'm bringing up is, and I know he had a terrible, brutal game last night, but Sam Darnold.
Oof.
And the reason I bring him up is
Woof.
because the week before he had a good performance, and the schedule coming up, it's really good schedule because he plays the Dolphins twice, the Bengals, the Giants, the Redskins, and the Raiders, which is just those are softballs. I feel like, and you like the potential there. And before going into that Patriots game, you did like seeing what he did when he came back after that mono illness that he had when he was out.
He was just not ready for primetime Monday night against Tom Brady. He was he was out of his element. He's not.
He was seeing ghosts.
He was seeing ghosts. Man, there's so many quarterbacks. I mean, 1 week flyers. There's so many I could go. One name I wanted to bring up, we mentioned last week, but with Jacoby Brissett on pace to lead the league in NFL in passes and TD passes.
Another one I was going to bring up too. He's on my list too.
Oh man, the list can go
solid
on
all season.
One real one I wanted to get a little in depth with you is Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's a
he did not make my list. But I do like the ad. I do, because that Titans offense looks a little better now.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, with Tannehill, huge upgrade over Mariota, which is incredible to even say, but huge upgrade.
I know. But we've been saying, I feel like me and you've been saying this like all season, like sit Mariota.
Oh, Mariota, I don't even think he's on any team. What is his ownership percentage? I don't even think he's on any team. But no, he makes that offense serviceable. He made Corey Davis look good. With Brown. They're missing Delaney Walker, so the rise of Jonnu Smith, if you're in further tight end help, in need of tight end help, Jonnu Smith makes his epic return to the field.
He's been game winners in the past. He's been a game winner in the past. So.
he's a brand name around our league, that's for sure. But yeah, Ryan Tannehill, that was the one I really wanted to at least have a short chat about, just because I it's amazing to say, but just how much of an improvement he really was in one game over Mariota was mind-blowing to me.
It really was. I agree, and he's definitely worth at least a speculative ad, just to see how he does in the future too, in the future coming weeks. Mm-hmm. So that's all I had for QBs. I don't know if you had anyone else that you were kind of targeting as well.
No, other than just really if you added Danny turnovers, go ahead and drop them now.
Oh. Yeah, I was gonna actually bring that up too. Yeah, Danny Dimes. He's after that rock star performance that he had. I think week 1 or week 2.
He's tapered right off.
It's been brutal. I think he's had 4 TDs and 7 interceptions over the past few weeks, and that's bad. Mm-hmm. And that's with all of his weapons back. You know, Saquon, Evan Ingram. Yeah, I think it's time to move on from him.
And while we're on the quarterbacks, if he is still available in your league, I'm not sure on his ownership percentage, but if you just need the 1 week flyer, you had Lamar Jackson or you have Dak Prescott, and you need 1 week flyer, you might as well get Teddy Bridgewater also. If he is available in your league, get Teddy Bridgewater for 1 week. He'll do just fine.
He's been solid, yeah. That Saints, they have weapons. They're looking good.
Sean Payton will figure out what to do with them.
Some are saying the best team in the NFC. I'm not sure about that, but
yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. But
I'm just saying some people.
Indeed.
But moving on to running backs. Big news injury-wise, I guess. Kerryon Johnson was just put on IR today, so that's a big hit. And so I guess the top guy on my list would be Ty Johnson, because when Kerryon left the game last week, Ty Johnson kind of came in and took over that role, and he kind of looks to be the workload back. He wasn't able to do much against get a lot going against that Vikings D because they're pretty tough, but got a better matchup against the Giants this week, and I think he's a good flex option this week for sure, especially with Kerryon gone, and even going forward.
If I had to go number 1 overall, I wouldn't be off that bandwagon at all. That's a lot of touches that have to go somewhere. I don't think their game plan will change very much, and especially not against the Giants. There's no reason to change against the Giants. But Chase Edmonds, if you didn't pick up Chase Edmonds last week, and if you played him, God bless your heart, you know you won. If you didn't pick him up, you should pick him up this week.
Just speaking on that real quick though, who started Chase Edmonds over David Johnson though? It realistically.
Yeah, I didn't see it in any of my leagues. No,
because David Johnson was active and was told he was ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
We were told he was ready to go.
But
so the fact that he had one carry and then just left the game, that doesn't make any sense.
No, yeah, and that also is one of those things that lead me to believe either he re-aggravated a previous injury or the injury was never as good. He was never good to go in the first place. Because now word around the way is today, the Arizona Cardinals brought in Jay Ajayi and a couple of other running backs for a workout, which is never true story.
Well, they also signed today. They also signed Alfred Morris to the team too, which indicates that David Johnson's probably
one of the other ones. Yeah, they brought in. I heard they were bringing in Jay Ajayi and a couple of running backs. Big name was Jay Ajayi. I didn't know Alfred Morris was one, but yeah, that's never.
Well, I know they worked out with Jay Ajayi, but they actually signed Alfred Morris today. So
yeah, they were going to get somebody.
Definitely need to get somebody. And even if David Johnson is healthy and does play, I think Chase Edmonds is still someone you want to have because after having such a huge performance like that, he's not going to just go back on the bench like that.
No, the cat's out of the bag now. Yeah, there's no putting that back in the bag.
No, and I think he could almost turn into almost like a Austin Eckler situation like we had last year with Melvin Gordon. That may be a little too optimistic, but
I was thinking more along the lines of with David Johnson's payroll costs, it makes David Johnson 100% in the offseason droppable by the Cardinals. I mean, might as well go young, get rid of the payroll.
That's true too.
It makes David Johnson tradable. It makes David Johnson cuttable, depending on the exact terms of all his contract. I'm not the biggest on all of that stuff, but if they can get rid of him on the offseason, they might just cut him. Covered the Lions, covered James Conner might not be playing this week. God, who was their backup? Wish I came with more notes.
Jalen Samuels, but I think Jalen Samuels is also out, so I think you'd want to grab Benny Snell.
Yeah, Snell, that was the one who I was thinking about, which oh man, I never would even no matter how much volume he's gonna get, I would never like to pick up a third. It's kind of like when Barkley and Gallman went down. Do you pick up the
Hilliman? Yeah. I stayed away.
Yeah, there's so many other options out there.
I think who I'd pick up before Benny Snell would even be Mark Walton on the Miami Dolphins. To be honest, and even him, I'm holding on in deeper leagues because it's hard. Because it's Miami. Really, and it's hard to trust anyone in Miami. But
Okay.
I'm sorry, what?
I see Miami also getting rid of Kenyon Drake, trading him at the deadline. Also,
they're going to be trading him because he's just not getting. They're not giving him the ball really anymore. Yeah. It seems like Mark Walton's taken over that backfield, and he's pretty effective in the passing game too. So,
in the moment they get rid of Drake, Walton, that's at least an upshot on target snaps, all that a giant boost that you can count on reliable. I'd pick up Walton and stash him.
Yeah, but then again, it is the Dolphins, so
it is the Dolphins.
Just be wary. Worst team in the league. Those are the running backs I had. As far as running backs we could drop though too, I'm done with Mixon, dude.
I said that last week, man. He was droppable.
I think we talked about this last week, but he's rostered in 98% of leagues. That is crazy.
How? Well, I get how he is on paper the starting running back, but
people drafted him pretty high, but that O-line is it's so bad. He scored a touchdown this week and still had less than 8 fantasy points. That's just so bad.
It's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Speaking of, did you happen to see Sam Darnold's fantasy stat line?
what was it, like -6 points or something like that? I know it was negative.
Yeah, it was like -6 in most standard leagues. I think in our league it was -1, in which we're a very quarterback friendly league. But
Yeah, because
still
we have the completion stat, but yeah,
-1,
Just
-5.
okay.
6.
Imagine. Okay, first of all, I don't know why you would even start Sam Darnold against the Patriots.
No, I in my work league, yes, he was started.
I'm sure someone
after the
did.
hot game. He was started.
But imagine going into that game. Probably, let's say if you were up by like 4 or 5 points, and you lost because that was your last person, and he got you -6 points.
No, it wasn't that deep. I think he was already out of the game, but. No, yeah, I did. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Did you see his stat? Like, it was just unbelievable for playing a whole game. He broke Ryan Leaf records of fantasy football numbers.
Jesus.
4 interceptions, 1 fumble, just wee. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up for no reason. Go ahead. So we're talking about negative numbers.
Well, speaking of other negative, I guess, numbers and players and running backs that I think you should move on from, Kenyon Drake, because he just hasn't been getting the ball, and we don't know he's going to get traded somewhere, but how much value is he going to have when he gets traded?
That would be more or less my argument. I would say hold Kenyon. If you're the 98% and you held him this long, he's about to get traded. You can hold on to him for another week or two and at least see where he goes. Would be.
But if you drafted Kenyon Drake,
you're frustrated
with high hopes, and you need a running back right now. Let's say you also had Kerryon Johnson or something, and you're desperate and you need the spot. I think you could drop him. You know.
Yeah. No, definitely. Try.
Another guy. Yeah, you could try. But yeah, you could get some value out of that. Another guy is
held this far.
Yeah. But might be worth holding out more.
A little bit longer.
Another guy, Miles Sanders.
Yeah,
he's
droppable.
Just hasn't been it. That running back, that Eagles team is just in.
He is a man without a role in that offense. He has
no. That's a good way to put it.
No job that he does there that nobody else can do. Just droppable.
He's just rostered way too much, like 81% of leagues, and that's way too much. Duke Johnson's another one. He just hasn't been producing. I think we mentioned him last week as well.
Deshaun Watson doesn't know how to check down.
Yeah,
that's why that man does not check down for nothing.
Yeah. And another guy is Damian Williams, who's rostered in 90% of leagues. It seems like he's headed to a timeshare, and I think LaShawn McCoy is the running back that owned in that timeshare.
Yeah, he's still the number one dog. He still is Andy Reid's. Andy Reid would have way more faith in LaShawn McCoy in any situation than any other.
It just seems like they're leaning on McCoy a little bit more than Williams. And
definitely.
I know that's frustrating because Damian Williams was drafted with kind of high hopes this year.
He was,
especially after Kareem Hunt got kicked off the team. So.
If you listen to me preseason, I was one of the ones who were I'm good on Damian even before they signed LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, I was good too. I didn't give in to the hype.
I mean, if it fell to me in a value, of course, take the run at it. Before they had LaShawn McCoy, once they had LaShawn McCoy, no, that deal was done. He was done.
Yeah, definitely. I guess we should move on to wide receivers, unless you had anyone else to add about
if you're in a yearly redraft league, David Montgomery totally is droppable. Only had 2 rushes.
Oh yeah, he's another one too. Yeah.
And again, it's not a talent thing with him. I said this a few weeks ago. It's just Matt Nagy should not be a coach in the NFL. He just really shouldn't. I don't care what the game situation is, up, down. I mean, ask the Jets. You don't run the ball 7 times in an NFL football game. Just.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't. I mean.
They need to figure it. They got the defense figured out. They need to figure that out.
No.
So.
Matt
they win
Nagy is
again.
just, and fantasy wise, is the most unreliable coach out there. Just Matt Nagy. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's their problem.
definitely. All right. With that said, receiver, biggest news in that department, I would say Mohammed Sanu got traded to the Patriots today.
Mm-hmm.
He's just over the threshold, 52% in leagues, but I think he should still make the list just because, I think he could potentially be a fantasy stud over in the Patriots,
Mm-hmm.
with Tom Brady, and
Depending
you like
on
that trade if you have Mohammed Sanu.
depending on what weapons are left, there's two situations that came up with the Sanu signing. A lot of people are saying they both hint at Gordon. One is Gordon's injury more than the Patriots let off, or more than everybody suspected. And two was the second scenario I didn't really think about, but a lot of people are talking about, is maybe the Patriots know something's is about to come as far as off the field issues with Josh Gordon, and they're hedging their bets ASAP. I say pump the brake. I mean, I've heard that a lot today. I would say pump the brakes on that kind of talk. Possibly the injury is a little bit more than what they let off, but as far as saying picking up Sanu is a hint that maybe the off the field issue might be coming, not entirely. It's not that the Patriots weren't trying to sign AB earlier this year. They're always looking to add an arsenal to Tom Brady's repertoire. They're always looking to add weapons. They'll never stop doing that. I just giving up a second for Mohammed Sanu on the opposite side of 30. Just turned 30 today, actually. I looked him up. So happy birthday. You got traded. You went from the Atlanta Falcons to the 7-0 New England Patriots. Happy fucking birthday, Mohammed Sanu.
Yeah, I know he's happy. He's probably I'm about to get a ring.
Yeah.
Let's get this.
But a trick question also on that. In the last 5 years, how many 100-yard games has Mohammed Sanu had?
In the last 5 years?
In the last 5 years. Random guess.
I have no idea.
If you had to throw a number out there, throw a number
10.
out. Huh?
We'll go 10. We'll go 10.
1.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it? I thought he had more than that.
No, 1. I would want to see what his role will be in New England before I dive into that.
He must have quite a few touchdowns then, because I feel like he's produced fantasy-wise.
Oh, he's produced, yeah. Well, opposite of
it must be the touchdowns.
Julio, yeah.
Well, because there's been I know last season when Julio wasn't getting any touchdowns, they had to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, oh yeah, last couple of years,
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense now.
But I mean, his role would fit the across the middle stuff. They're trying to replace Gronk still. Is get that across the middle stuff. Open the field for Gordon, Edelman, and all them. But yeah, I don't know. I would still sit back away. I want to see his role there before I buy into that.
I get that.
A lot of people, yeah.
I just feel like they spent a lot to get him. A second round pick isn't nothing to laugh at.
That's not peanuts. No.
And I think the Patriots have liked Sanu for a while and kind of just been on his radar for a long time. And they've finally kind of gotten what they wanted. So, but yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on, and we'll see what happens this week.
And did you know Emmanuel Sanders also got traded a couple hours ago?
I did see that.
To the 49ers.
Yes, I did see that. They do need receivers.
They on the receiving end, anything they can take off of Kittle will really help them. But again, just on the opposite side. I
was starting to like Marquise Goodwin a little bit, but I do think the addition of Emmanuel Sanders.
But
yeah.
I don't think any team adds Emmanuel Sanders in actual football and becomes bad. But fantasy relevancy, again, I would hold out. I would be more wait and see on the trades before I instantly buy into Sanu is now going to be the new man in New England.
Yeah, and definitely not right away. I mean, he's got to come in and learn that offense too. After being on the Falcons team for his whole career, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, another guy that's on my list is Corey Davis. After seeing the Titans last week with Tannehill at quarterback, you really like to see that. And Corey Davis just has ridiculous talent, and I honestly think if Corey Davis was on a team with a great quarterback, he would be a fantasy rock star. Just imagine that on the Patriots, like Tom Brady would make him like a top 5 receiver.
The skill set's definitely there. It's been there coming out of college. It's really, now you can really see the difference now that Mariota's kind of out of the picture for a minute. Just even a mediocre, like the Dolphins threw away Tannehill. Like he's not a franchise quarterback, Tannehill. But just the difference is, man, I don't even think Mariota's a backup quarterback if Tannehill's not a franchise. I mean, I
know it's bad, but just from like the eye test, they look so much better already. It's crazy. It's crazy, and I'm excited to see the weeks coming forward, definitely. So.
The biggest one, number one on my list, the no wait and see needed. If you need a plug and play right now, Will Fuller's down. Go get Kenny Stills, Houston Texans.
Yes, yep, definitely. He's a guy on my list too.
That would be my number one. You don't need to see any, the role he's going to go into, and he's built for that role. He still is a speed wide receiver.
He stretches the field for sure, just like Will Fuller. And Deshaun Watson will stretch the field.
Yeah, so I mean, he'll instantly jump right into Will Fuller's role. That would be a huge pickup if you can go and get Kenny Stills right now. Go and get Kenny Stills right now over any other wide receiver. That'd really be all I had to say.
Yeah. Last kind of guy, maybe deeper leagues, is Devontae Parker. I mentioned him last week. He's scored in 3 straight weeks now. Seems to be really the only bright spot on that Dolphins team, and that team's going to be throwing a lot. Yeah, Fitzmagic. I hope he stays at starter.
He'll make the receivers look good. I mean,
he will.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're going to be playing from behind and they're going to be throwing it a bunch. So if you need a receiver one week, or you're desperate this week or something, he's someone.
Maybe you're just in last place like me, and you just need any type of upside you can get. Yep. But yeah, would agree there.
Definitely. As far as receivers to drop, though, I think I'm moving on from Kansas City. Everyone except Tyreek Hill.
Not named Tyreek Hill, yes.
Not named Tyreek Hill. I just not seeing him coming back has just diminished their value in production.
Sammy Watkins dead.
Especially with even him really, and especially with Matt Moore.
Yes.
It just decreases the value even more of the other receivers.
Yeah, it's not the same Chiefs offense that you wanted every piece that you can get a hold of because Pat Mahomes was running the show. Yeah, I get that. Wide receiver drops. I don't think they're. Yep.
Another one I'm okay to drop if you need the spot is Deshaun Jackson, because he's just been out for a while, and if you've held on, I don't think he's coming back this week either. So it's.
I'd be okay.
I guess
with that.
It's frustrating. Yeah, it's definitely if you need the space. And
if you need the space, yes. If you don't need the space, I'd hold on to it. Just eventually, if he does come back, I think that's a huge piece that the Philadelphia offense has been missing since he has. It's just
definitely, absolutely. It's just I just think it's still up in the air when he's going to come back. And that's all I have for receivers, though.
Yeah, you pretty much covered mine, buddy.
Yeah, so guess it's a good time to move on.
It's a good year for wide receivers.
Best position, tight ends.
The best position. Well, there's options at tight end this week, baby.
Yeah, I've got I got a couple, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Who you got?
One guy that I got is Dallas Goedert,
Dallas Goedert. Yep. Mm-hmm.
and it just seems like he's becoming more important to that Eagles offense than Zach Ertz.
Yeah. No. Yeah. He's a very talented tight end. Yeah.
He is, and he just every week he just seems to get better, and it almost reminds me of the situation in Seattle when Will Dissly was starting to like slowly get get better and better every week, and then just broke out. And I can almost imagine seeing that happen. But
Indeed.
again, it's a thin position, so
It's a thin position.
that's why he's on my list. But
I already brought up mine, Jonnu Smith, earlier. I mean, just Delaney Walker's out. The Tannehill effect's full on. They at least have a pro-level quarterback at the helm now. Above average. But, yeah, no, Jonnu Smith would be my go-to. In the tight end, if you still haven't mentioned Eric Ebron. I know I've been saying him for the last few weeks, but he keeps getting it done. Yeah, no tight ends. God, I know there was one more. Now I'd have to look it up.
I'm willing to add Kyle Rudolph to my list finally after seeing.
Oh no, I'd take Irv Smith.
I know you've been preaching on him the last couple of weeks though.
Irv Smith,
least adding
over the last 2
weeks.
I
know Rudolph. You saying that you've been adding to your list at least. Just think about adding to your team, just because the position's so thin. And I just think the talent is there, and they're finally throwing it to him more. So, and Cousins is hot.
New England did not make the move and get O.J. Howard like I was really praying they would. Ben Watson had a horrible drop. But just how much they do still always spread the ball around, bringing Ben Watson back to Pro Bowl, just his first game back for Jets, against the Jets rather. Didn't look too bad other than the blatant ball off the face mask. But Ben Watson is very serviceable if you do need him. And also Dawson Knox. Not the most sexiest of names out there, but a very, very easy back end of the schedule. And if you look at the front end of his schedule, it was horrible for him. And the more the season goes along, it looks worse in retrospective. Just teams giving up the least points to tight ends, and now he's finally broken out of that. I mean, Dawson Knox becomes serviceable. Other than that, yeah, tight ends, they're still not the deepest. Chris Herndon, who knows if he's starting.
Yeah, I was gonna mention Chris Herndon as well. He might be finally coming back. When he does come back, someone to definitely keep an eye on him.
Keep an eye. I wouldn't rush to pick him up, but indeed.
No, I wouldn't rush to pick him up either, but definitely keep an eye on. So, yeah, that's all I got for tight ends.
Indeed. Yeah, that's what I got.
But some defenses that I wanted to talk about though this week. This week and even multiple weeks. I think the Steelers are just not rostered enough. They're the top 6 defense so far, and they get the Dolphins this week, so you obviously want them this week.
Yeah, if you want them this week, I have them. I have them rostered. I've had them rostered for a few weeks now. I just like to stay ahead of the usual waiver wire people. If you haven't seen the back end of their schedule, if you're in the playoff hunt, the back end of their schedule will get you there and win it. That's how I feel looking at it.
But they're only rostered in 42% of leagues. Like that's just way too low.
That's way too low.
That is way too low, and they need to. And that's why I wanted to bring them up.
Get ahead of the curve.
Another team I wanted to bring up.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely Steelers. Another team is the Panthers. They're before this bye that they had this past week. They were the number 2. They're the number 2 defense behind the Patriots. and they're only rostered in 47% of leagues.
I
So
did
that's
not
just
know
way
they were
too
number
low
two.
for that. But that's what I'm saying. They're
Yeah, if
playing
you had
pretty
asked
well.
me, I wouldn't.
I mean,
have-
yeah. This upcoming week, you may not want to play them against the 49ers.
No.
But if you have the spot to maybe stash them, they've been good. They've been good so far.
And that's really where that integral shift now halfway through the season. Now you're starting to get an idea if you're in the playoff hunt or out of the playoff hunt, and depending on your league dynasties, blah blah blah, you know what you're doing, tanking, selling / buying, and for a playoff push. But yeah, just that's where it's more gear is just getting ahead of the waiver, making sure you're ahead of the usual waiver curve. Now that's where I really am starting to look. The last couple of weeks I've already been there. Just the last 5 weeks of the schedule. Gotta start looking there.
Definitely. And then last defense I wanted to bring up are the Colts, who have been they've been really good lately. A talented group have been playing really well, and they're getting healthier, which helps them. And they have a really nice schedule over the next 4 weeks, playing the Broncos, the Steelers, the Dolphins, and then the Jags. So, really like that.
Indeed, nice schedule for them.
Yeah.
Defense. That's about all I got there too. Couldn't say it better myself, bud.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have anything else, I think we can.
No, that was quick to the point. That was good.
Nice.
Well, I think that will do it for us here. Week 8. Hopefully get you guys a little bit of helpful tips here, and hopefully we all go balls deep into the playoffs. And
go get that win.